Is up, everybody? Is my microphone registering? Let me know if you guys can hear me with a thumbs up or thumbs down on my microphone here. It's not registering, or better said, on Ecamm is not registering anything coming out of the microphone. Testing, testing. Quiet, audio low. Okay, let's see here. Says no sound. I'm getting messages from my moderators here. On my Rodecaster Pro, I'm hitting 15 luffs, loudness under full scale. Yes. I don't want to yell because I don't know exactly how it's coming through. It's coming super low. Let's try something here. Testing, testing. Okay. That should be good. You guys can give me the thumbs up if everything is good here now. I appreciate your patience. Yeah, thanks for the info, Scott, here. Okay, so I think we got the thumbs up and we will continue. What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another live stream. Thank you for hanging out here with me. It is episode 104. And for those of you in the Camera Junkie crew, you know that 104 is another milestone. This week completes 2 years consecutive of the weekly Camera Junkie live stream. And this wouldn't be possible without all of you guys being part of it. So I can't thank you enough for making this my favorite part of like every week, the weekly wind down, the Camera Junkie live stream on Saturday nights. And as always, you guys rock. So thank you for, hanging out. And hopefully we're just going to continue on to, like, what is it, 156, right? 156 will be the next milestone. So we'll continue as we march on. But this is also episode number 4 of the podcast. And this is going to give me, like the 4 pieces to get things started. I'm also going to be trying to put together like my channel trailer, or not my channel trailer, but the trailer for the podcast, so that I could put that out. And because of the holidays and everything like that, and I'm going to continue to do these recordings, this is just like the proof of concept. And now we're going to continue. And I am thinking that for January is when I'm going to actually have the podcast going and actually starting. I'm going to record the intro to it, the trailer, so to speak, and get that going during the holidays to start like trying to, pre-promote it. But come January is when I'm actually going, I believe will be the first episode that I'm planning to schedule out, because there's also special events. This week marks 2 years of the Camera Junkie live stream, which is just incredible. Like 104 episodes, 104 weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream, and just no signs of stopping. But next week is also very special because it happens to fall on the 3rd of December, and that is also Aiden's birthday. So for those of you who want to help, or basically gift Aiden something for his birthday, I would tell you to, the best way would probably be through Buy Me a Coffee, and make sure that you leave a message that says for Aiden's gift. That way I'll make sure to, set that aside to dedicate for him, because next week he will be 7 years old, and it's been 7 years that this little guy changed and shook up everything in my life. And without this little guy, I know for a fact I wouldn't be here today. And so many things happened because of, trials and tribulations, and working through them, and working, diligently. And for those of you who might not know, everything that you see me do, I do for this little boy right here. And he is my reason why I do what I do. But next week, I'm excited. He's gonna be 7 years old. He had a growth spurt this year, so he's stretched out a little longer, and he's picking things up a lot better. So we're just working things out, and I can't wait for another progressive year with Aiden as well, including with everything else that I'm doing here on the live stream, podcast, editing, you name it. So thanks as always for hanging on, and joining me for this ride. But I'm gonna be getting into the podcast portion of it a little bit soon. But now that we have the microphone and I said my piece, we're gonna go ahead and see who's here in the Camera Junkie crew. Okay, right off the bat, we have Scott Rogers saying what's up. Am I getting... Okay. Oh, it's very small once again. Okay, that's why I'm like, I don't see the messages. Here we go. All right, there's Scott. Boom, saying hello to the crew members. We got Sean doing the same thing. Sarkeesi's in the house saying what's up, people. Everybody's over here is telling me that the audio is low, but we got that fixed. We have John hanging out saying, hey, guys. Kevin is also hanging out saying hello to everyone. Telling me that the audio... John says, bring the deep voice back. I don't know if those of you saw it. I did end up making a YouTube short. You understand? A little 30-second clip of when the voice changer changed on me last week. And if you don't know, I'm going to just attempt it real quick. But
this voice changer,
and let me not play with it anymore, accidentally switched itself on last week while I was talking, totally not paying attention. And after I looked back at the replay, it was a good 15 minutes of me just answering questions, bringing up comments to the screen. I watched it and I laughed, so I could just imagine how funny it was for you guys, especially with all the comments telling me that I had the deep voice. All right, we got the audio fixed now. It says it sounds like it was coming from another mic. It was actually, because I had just restarted my computer, and that's one of those little quirks about the Rodecaster Pro that I've been having. And when I restarted the computer, it didn't automatically connect to the Rodecaster. So even though I was getting levels and everything like that, it wasn't actually picking it up. So I had to disconnect, which is very interesting, because then I don't know, did you guys even hear music at the beginning of the stream? Because if it wasn't connected, then there was probably no audio during the countdown. But it's weird because I believe I saw music and I was listening to, but I digress. Anyway, we'll continue. It's fixed now. All right, so everybody's saying bam, I got it. We got Todd hanging out saying what's up, hello. And Todd, I listened to your live stream the other day, and it was funny that you were talking about how this movie Die Hard is like pretty much, or better said, that Home Alone was like a spin-off, or a straight take on on John McClane and Die Hard. And the way that you put it together, it really made a lot of sense. So it opened my eyes for it being even more of a Christmas movie. So big ups on that one. And I really found it funny. I was started thinking, Kevin McClane, something like that, and make a spin-off of, like the grandson of John McClane. And that's who who that was. So a lot of jokes popped in my mind. I found it very funny, very entertaining. All right, so everybody's saying nice because my microphone is up to par. BZ is in the house. What's up, bro? All right. He says, congrats on 2 years. That's amazing accomplishment, right? 2 years, man. 2 years. All right. Just paying attention to Aiden. I might need to take a break real quick. Yep. Okay, but we'll get to that before the podcasting aspect. But Dom says, yes, 2 years, an amazing accomplishment. Kevin says the same thing. Congrats on 2 years, man. 2 years, 104 episodes. Like, I still stay amazed. I still stay shocked, but I'm also very proud on, the days that were really tough. And Tom is actually, someone who can reference this fact for me. Just episode 97, I think it was, or 98, was very tough for me while I was on the road. And he sent me a message and he's like, hey, are you okay? Because I missed my normal then starting time of 11 p.m. And it was just super cool to know that there was still even though, I was trying to produce it and make everything the most that I can, that there was still people on the back end who are waiting for me to go live on the weekly. And that just gave me so much more motivation. So I was still able to make my live stream, but even though through the thick and the thin, the hard times when it became very difficult, the fact that I still made that effort to still come live, still be able to, do something instead of nothing is part of that momentum, that we get to keep having, or that I guess that I get to keep having every week. Because it's something that I want to keep going. I want to see how far I can take it, because it's gonna really have to be something extraordinary to actually, get me to want to stop. Because with the way that I have things set up, I feel like I can even just do a live stream from anywhere, like I did in the hotel room. So, like I always say, I don't plan on seeing anything stopping me anytime soon. So. Sean saying the deep voice episode was great. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Paul's in the house saying what's up. Everybody's saying that was so hilarious. Congratulations to me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, you see, says no music. Absolutely, there was no music. I'm over here jamming. You understand? And there was nothing as far as this computer being connected to the Rodecaster Pro because I just restarted it. So yeah, it was a quiet countdown. I'm over here listening to dope music, and you guys didn't get to hear it at all. Says thanks, working on a video I found a few more similarities. Yeah, I had even come up with a joke about it, like John McClane or Die Home Alone Harder or something like that. To make a funny combination spin-off, but that was just my man running circles. But all right, then guys, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna put up the music real quick. I need to be right back because I need to take care of Aiden real quick. So I need to get to some dad duties, and then I'm gonna get right into the podcast. If you do have any questions, please make sure to put a Q colon as I do my soliloquy. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the thumbs up. It goes a long way and is highly appreciated. So now, if this works correctly, I should be able to do this.
We're going under, bang bang like thunder, bang bang like thunder.
Okay, and we are back. All right. Diaper duties had to be taken care of right away, but we march on. Okay. Today's subject at hand is AI, or artificial intelligence, and is it killing creativity? So I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. And I think I need to catch my breath because I was just doing all of these things, including changing Aiden's diaper, that I feel a bit rushed. And I don't want to sound that way for the audio portion of the podcast. So let me just see what's going on here. Yep, we're just saying. Okay, so let me answer this question first to see if I could just get my temperature down. Turn on the air conditioning because I am definitely beating. Okay, let's see. It goes, what is AI? Is AI software or hardware or both combined? That is a great question. And it is both combined in a nutshell, because that's why we're basically talking about, in far as computers, we're trying to get the most cores, the fastest clock speeds, the most processing possible. And that's why we're even trying to get into the field of quantum computing, which is being able to compute in three-dimensional space almost, which acts more like a human brain's synapse or neuron. And just being able to have one under sort of say complete control is just leaps and bounds far more greater capacity and processing that we have now. So adding that type of additional processing to the programs that are written, right, or the language that is written as far as algorithmic learning or artificial intelligence, then you'll be able to teach the algorithm that you've written, or that the file or the program that you've written, you'll be able to teach it that much faster, so its intelligence will grow in leaps and bounds with the more processing or the more power that you're able to pump into it. That's why even right now, computer programmers that write code for a variety of different programs usually have what is called server farms, which is not just one computer or a computer, but a variety or a bunch of the same computers, so that they can virtually connect all of the processing power that they each have and hone it all in to do one particular task. And that is just scratching the surface of artificial technology. Hey, Law's in the house. How you doing, sir? It says congrats on 2 years. Thank you. Okay. And I think that helped out a lot. So now I'm going to get into it. And now this is going to be my soliloquy on AI. And now if you have any further questions on what I'm speaking about, feel free to do the same exact thing. Please put a Q colon and I will get to them as soon as I can. Let me go ahead and shut that off once again. Just like we say in PR, por la mosca, por si la mosca. Hey, Sammy, how you doing? Okay. In 5, 4. What's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Lewis, and I welcome you as today's topic is artificial intelligence. Is it killing creativity? Now, if you want a simple answer from me, I will tell you no. Now, I'm going to break that down on why I don't think that it is killing creativity. And we can start with what is AI in the first place. Now, artificial intelligence, even though it's being marketed right now as these algorithmic programs that run on a variety of platforms and devices. What it basically comes down to is that we've been using artificial intelligence to enhance our creativity for years. And one of the biggest programs that we use that has been using what we would consider artificial intelligence is the suite of programs that we get from Adobe or in Adobe Creative Cloud services. So going way back, all the way back to Photoshop 1.0, we were already within the mists of artificial intelligence. Now, in today's day and age, the reason why people would even consider a question like, is AI killing creativity, is because of certain devices that we have with us all the time. Devices like our iPhones. And our iPhones have photography or computational photography built right in as an algorithmic system, and that automatically takes thousands of different photos within a single snap or a simple touch of your iPhone. And at that moment, it is giving you the best exposure for the face. It is doing a separate exposure for the sky. It is enhancing the colors in the grass around you, and is doing all of these things in milliseconds so that it can provide you the best image possible. But that right there has already taken a lot of what we would consider the creative aspect away from the creator, because the phone is doing all of that processing in a flash. But at the same time, that is if you were to use it in that manner. But the reason now that I say that I don't see it actually killing creativity is because it's only giving people who are not more accustomed to being able to produce this type of creative work the tools that are necessary to allow them to kind of get a head start. So someone that normally would never even aspire to become or partake in anything creative, whether it be photography or video, blogging, texting, anything at all, with the tools that we are allotted in today's day and age, we are able to sidestep a lot of the previous hurdles that we had. So I never heard this type of conversation being brought up when we were first presented with the tools, like I mentioned before, from Adobe Creative Cloud, right? The Adobe Creative Cloud. I don't know if you guys could hear him, but anyway, the tools that we got from Adobe Creative Cloud, and going way back to the Photoshop days, are amazing. And at that time, I don't see that someone who had the ability to do all of these things in post-production and now has the ability to save time, money, and effort to replicate the same type of production and even more with the tools that were given to them through these programs. Even back then, something as simple as, the clone stamp, or the removal, the blemish removal tool, that already leads into what we consider artificial technology, because you're just selecting a highlighted area and allowing the computer to make judgment on what you want to get done within the program. Now, it gives you a variety of different tools to come to the same outcome, but it could be as simple as you just circle the area and let the computer do all of the work, or you can go granularly and start making your own gradient and actually go pixel by pixel. But it's up to you. And at that time where you have that ability, I've never seen that as being a hindrance, right? Or anything that would be negative towards the creative process when you're given a plethora of more tools at your disposal. So now, why is it that people are considering this type of like creativity killing AI to be prevalent now? Is because we're seeing these AI algorithmic programs and softwares and hardware being introduced in a lot of different, products. So now one that I can reference to is the new AI learning software from Sony's A7R5 that was just announced, I believe a week or 2 weeks ago. And the fact that people are upset, so to speak, that or I say kind of like disappointed that they're calling it AI, is literally all in the branding. Because whenever they were talking about previous cameras, whether it's an upgraded megapixels, upgraded buffer size, speed, whether it's for frame rates or just copying to your SD or memory card of choice, there was always a processor doing that task for you, which is why we love our devices so much. We have the ability to create far more with a digital camera every time that we possess it and decide to use it than we can with a traditional photography film camera. And I'm not taking anything away from film. It serves its it serves its purpose and it has its place. But at the same time, you have to understand that there's limitations to film, whether you're shooting it for photography or video. And video is far harder. And now with digital photography and these artificial intelligence machines, they have everything built in. Because the first form of artificial intelligence that we were introduced to when it comes to photography would be autofocus. And even though people would never even equate both of those things, autofocus is exactly what a computer-based artificial intelligence is. Now, the better that the artificial intelligence has gotten, right, the better the autofocus, then the better the camera is for the experience of the camera is for the user, and that will increase that camera sales exponentially. So obviously there are camera companies that have dedicated a lot of research and development into that aspect of their camera, because the ease of use is, at the end of the day, the name of the game. So I'm give me a second here, because I don't even know if you guys could hear Aiden, but he is on a tangent so hard right now that it's making me laugh. Like, just straight off the bat, he's making it hard for me to keep focus. Okay, so now, where else can we see artificial intelligence in our everyday? Mostly we see it in our smartphones in a variety of different applications, and that's where, hand in hand, you have the implementation of both hardware and software. But right now, there's been a tsunami of artificial intelligence softwares that have been available to us. One of them that's been making its rounds lately has been DALL-E, or Stable Diffusion is a different version of it, which is artificial intelligence art, right? Where you can basically just type in a thought, and this program is going to give you a complete illustration or image of what you just asked it, or what you just asked for it to describe to you. I think I said that right. But at the same time, there was a incident not too long ago where someone actually took a piece of artificially created art and submitted it to an art competition and ended up winning without him disclosing that he wasn't the actual creator of the art, and that it was created using one of these artificial intelligence programs. Now, that's where it gets a little blurry, because at the end of the day, for my thoughts, what really made the difference in that situation was the fact that the person who submitted the art did not disclose that they used an artificial intelligence program to create it. Now, when it comes to that, that's kind of like it's a very thin line, right? Of where we're saying what's kind of permittable and not, and where does the creative aspect start or end, right? Because someone might not have the ability, right, to create something, but they have the vision for it. And the more, like, the best example that I can give you of that is a director of a movie. Now, a director of a movie, once we sit down and watch and rate a movie, we tend to give a lot of that credit to the director. Yet, the director would have needed a lot of help when it comes to special effects, like wardrobe, casting. There's a million and one things that go into a film production, yet it's all because we're trying to produce that director's vision, right? So at that time, what is the difference between a director hiring a cast, a crew to produce a vision in a movie than it is for someone to type in their idea into an algorithmic system to produce a piece of artificial intelligence art? And like I said, there's pros and cons to both. But at the end of the day, I have to go back to my first thought, which is I do not see any of these new tools hitting the market taking away from the creative process, or in better words, killing creativity. Because whether it's artificially intelligence created or made by an actual person, the difference is the quality of the work, right? Like, I have a very good friend of mine, or a childhood friend of mine, who is an amazing artist, real to life painter. And no matter what anyone can say, I can see an amazing image that was made by a computer and then see an amazing image that was created by someone's actual hand and talent. And I don't see the day where people would not recognize the human element in the product that he has created. And like I said, the reason why I don't think that we're going to be losing out by adding more tools to our arsenal is because for years I've already been using programs to help me with my photography. One of them being Luminar. The latest program is Luminar Neo, but the one that I got is Luminar AI because I started, attempting to use it years ago. I purchased it and I put my own photography through the test, right? And what I did was I took images and I totally edited them with my traditional photo editing programs, Photoshop, so on and so forth, and went through all the steps and went through all of the tedious procedures to create a finished image. And then I did the same exact thing, right? And I re-edited that photo using my Luminar 4 program. And what I did is I just told it to do the same thing that I would have done in my Photoshop programs. So all I did was basically hire a program to do the work that I would do, and it would take me hours to do in minutes. Because now, instead of having a slow computer program, we have all of these new devices with the power and the capability to be able to do it. And after I rendered both the images from Photoshop and the ones from Luminar, I put it to the test of the people who I took the photos of, right? So I went to each person and I showed them both images and asked them which one did they prefer. And straight across the board, they liked both, but they all leaned towards the artificially intelligence edited versions of the photograph. It was tough for me to swallow, right? I'm gonna be honest. It was tough for me to take that hit to the ego, and I was like, "Hey, I guess people prefer that more than what I would consider, you know, for my own photography." But at the same time, I considered it as if I were to hire an editor to help me in my creative process with my photographs. There is absolutely no difference. And Luminar, I bring them up because they are one of the first ones to literally say that they had an artificial intelligence program to help you with your photos. And now I've built that program in as part of my workflow. And as I use Lightroom and Photoshop, I have it's basically converted as well into a plugin, which I can go right from Lightroom and say, let's edit this in Luminar, and I'm right into the program and bouncing me right back as soon as I'm done. It saves me so much time, especially when it comes to a particular person or set of photographs that are all going to be edited the same way, and I can just batch edit them through Luminar and literally save me hours and hours of time. Now, I also mentioned if you're a creator who's someone like into the writing space, the blogging, there's programs like Jasper. And Jasper is an artificial intelligence program that helps you with all of your writing needs. And then let's say you needed help with graphic arts because you're trying to put a content creation piece together. You also have programs like Canva. Canva is completely web based, and they keep stepping up their game, even to the point where their latest update, they now have background removal not only for photos but for video files as well, meaning you can green screen yourself and then have a video cutout, which is a term that we use in the editing world, which is called rotoscoping, which meant that an artist would have to go manually into each frame of the movie or like a video file, and frame by frame literally cut out the individual frame by frame by like going dot by dot around them to remove the background from it. And now these are things that are built into web-based programs, and not even including that, I have plugins that fall into my Final Cut Pro and all of the other programs that I use. And like last but not least, but definitely one that I also use for my audio leveling, which is Alphonic. And Alphonic is another AI software that you just give it the parameters as far as set it to 15 LUFS, and like do some noise cancellation, or decide not to do noise cancellation, and I want you to render it in WAV instead of MP4 or MP3, anything. All of those options are available to you through these programs at a simple click of a button. So when it comes to people being kind of like put off from artificial intelligence, they have yet to realize that we've been using artificial intelligence or AI based algorithmic programs for decades now. But just in today's climate, in today's day and age, we've just reached a point where the term itself, AI, artificial intelligence, has become mainstream enough that just about everyone who is able to hear that information will be able to grasp the concept immediately, just because they're able to just shorten all of that hard information to say, hey, it's an AI program that now lives within your system. So whether it's living within your iPhone, your smartwatch, and now like the A7R5, You even have it in your digital cameras. So what does this lead to? Better communication between devices, easier transfer of images and videos between your camera and your smart device, whether it be a tablet or an iPhone or just your general desktop or laptop computer. It's better understanding of the capabilities of these devices and having a smarter processor within your own device that's helping you best achieve your goals. So, if this is something that you've been thinking that's been maybe a negative towards the content creation or the creative process in general, let me be the first one to tell you this is nothing to be feared about. Just understand that artificial intelligence is the new way of just saying the latest and greatest tools at your disposal. With that, I would like to thank you for hanging out with me and listening to this podcast, the Camera Junkie Podcast. Those are my thoughts. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. I'm going to leave that space there so that I can fill in with the contact that I'm actually the links that are going to be correct. And now we're going to get into one of my favorite parts of the live stream, which is C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And with that being said, this week, we're going to be talking. Let's get into it. This man right here, G.X.A.C.E. Now, I've been following him for a while. And let's get this stuff out of the way and maybe change this camera angle. That looks better there. Okay, perfect. G.X.A.C.E. If you haven't heard of this channel, I would definitely tell you to take a look at it, because he is someone that, on top of giving really good information and content, has a very unique style. Casey is his name. He's just an amazing content creator. When it comes to his style, it is very, very unique, very his own. And either you're gonna like it or you're not. But if you're part of the Camera Junkie crew, I think that you should definitely give it a shot and give this guy's channel a quick glance, because I have yet to see anything bad when it comes to complete production, audio, and he's another camera junkie. He is someone who literally has taken the same type of concept of saying, make the best of what you've got. And he's constantly showcasing older cameras, or what I'm liking, or I'm trying to name now, retro tech, right? To have like a retro tech series on cameras that are still viable and available today. And the latest episode that he just put out yesterday, was it? Yeah, a camera that you can actually buy today. He goes over this particular part, which is something that I had mentioned here, on the live stream and the podcast prior, which is, once you've reached a certain level of data, or as far as megapixels go, anything past 12 megapixels is basically undiscernible by the high. You've kind of reached the pinnacle of quality that even that most of the devices that you're actually looking at the image on can't even give you the full 12 megapixel rendering, right? So you're seeing it at as best as it can be. And there's a lot of cameras that fall into that category of being good enough when it comes to creating content. And he kind of confirmed that anything past 12 megapixels is basically indiscernible by the human eye. So get out there and start creating content with whatever it is that you have, because the best camera that you have is the one that you have with you. And with that being said, that is this week's C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W, channels that I think you should go and watch. And I would definitely highly recommend you check out. He's at 120K subscribers. Congratulations at over 100K, sir. And with that being said, that will wrap up this week's podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening in and hanging out with me. And let's get that there. And I will see you next week. All right. Now let's go back and let's check in on the crew and see exactly what's going on. All right. I don't know how long I went on with the AI stuff, but let's see. Okay, so we were here when Law walked in. That's basically when I started speaking. We also have Albert in the house saying artificial intelligence has matured and it will be acting. What? Acting on it soon. I'm not sure exactly what that meant. Says Sammy saying, what's up? Paul says, AI just makes me think of the 1970s movies Colossus, The Forbidden Project. I'm going to have to take a look at that. Hey, what's up, Gretchen? Gangster Grandma's in the house saying hello. And look, this is the funny thing. Now that I'm finished with my soliloquy, Aiden is quiet. Just not a sound. It's just and once again, like, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'll be listening on the edit to see if he came through. But oh man, this guy, he's getting louder every day. Concepts versus creation. That's a huge discussion. I agree. Disclosure is important. Absolutely. And touching on that, the disclosure aspect, I think that's the biggest thing. If you're, the reason why people don't even consider Adobe Photoshop artificial intelligence or anything of that type is because it's commonplace. It's just like unknown, like I cannot tell you how I cannot emphasize that every time I go do photography, I have someone come up to me and like, oh, you can take a little off, right? And you can slim a little down, and it's already like not only accepted, but almost like kind of like required, like they already expected, like, oh, if you haven't photoshopped my image, like, do you even consider yourself a photographer? So it goes to show you. Says, how many people use Jasper and disclose that they use Jasper? Or better said, that don't disclose that they use Jasper, right? I just downloaded C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W, putting a few videos through it right now. That's one that I didn't mention because I haven't worked with it at all. But that one is very, very interesting. And for those of you who don't know what C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W is, it's a new program that basically upscales your videos. So not only your videos, but your images. You can take blurry photos and send it through this program, the C.I.T.Y.S.G.A.W, and it should sharpen them up. And it's also, even more, like even more mind-boggling that it does it with video as well. I heard that the video takes a long time to render, but the results have been, from what I've seen, have been remarkable. From something that's completely not usable to something that's just amazing. And you have the ability to render the file in slow motion if you wanted to. So you can upscale it and add frames to it. So let's say, for instance, you shot it at 30 frames per second, but you wanted to slow it down and you're using a 30 frames per second timeline. Excuse me. That if you were to try to slow down 30 frames per second at half speed, you're only getting 15 seconds per frame. So did I say that right? No, you're only getting 15 frames per second. meaning that the image is going to be slowed down but look very choppy, because there's going to be missing frames in between that should have filled up all 30 so that you can get smooth motion. And that's what something that you can do with Topaz Video AI. The fact that you can tell it, render it at 60 frames with an upscale, so that then you can put it into your program and slow it down and have the highest quality slow-mo or B-roll footage. So definitely something to be looking into. Oh, Crisp is another one. Talking about that, yeah. I use Crisp. So maybe that's why you didn't hear Aiden, even though, like I tell you guys, I hear him, right? So I'm hearing him going off, and it's awesome if you guys don't, right? Which is cool, or better for me for the recording to see if I could use it again. But he is still so loud in this ear that I can't help but be distracted, because I find him hilarious. I find him to be so funny. And to tell you the truth, I love my son. I love Aiden so much. I spent like a lot of yesterday in a food coma and just hanging out with him, and just playing with him, and just like we just like couched up for the day and just hung out for the day. And I absolutely loved every second of it. It was just a much needed like day off. Love my guy. Says, I think another factor here is the ethics and using AI for positive rather than to do harm or negative. One thing that I didn't even touch into, which is the fact that one of the programs, Stable Diffusion, actually just made an update. So one of the issues that people were having with Stable Diffusion was that not only were you able to put in whatever you wanted as far as an image to be produced artificially, but that you could actually pick the type of art or artist that you wanted it to look like. So, pick your favorite artist of all time and type in that name, and then say, I want to see something painted like if he painted it, whether it be Picasso, Van Gogh, or Dali, Salvador Dali. That's where the program DALL-E actually has the wordplay from his name as well, because you were able to take the style and the works of previous artists and have them kind of replicate your face today, which is very, very interesting, because it comes to not only using an artificial intelligence to create art, but literally like hijacking a different artist style that they kind of, they kind of like trademarked, and using that as like your own works. That's kind of like a double, right? Like 2 times when you're infringing upon the art, so to speak. So the new version 2.0 of Stable Diffusion has now eliminated that aspect as well. So if you guys are interested in using a program to try to see how this stuff works on your own, the latest version is not allowing you to kind of, infringe on copyrighted works or copyrighted styles from different artists of the past. So even though you're using it to help you out, it should be coming out with something completely new using the power and the programs that we have currently. So. Dude, Croc is in the house. Look, there he goes. No, it's not. Limiting beliefs are. Okay, I'm done. That's very true, right? The limiting beliefs have to do with all of this stuff. It says, can't hear him at all. Chris is working amazingly for you. Thank you. It says, Topaz has about 7 different areas. I've been using the photo studio elements for years. The video AI is all new to me. I'm taking night dance scenes. Wow. Night dance scenes from Osaka, right? Osaka? I think I'm saying that right. And turning it into enhanced slow-mo. You see, basically, I hadn't even read this, and that's exactly what I was saying. And she then goes on to say, Topaz has artist-style effects for photos for years. It takes you down a whole new path if you want to use it as inspiration and not copy. See, that's the way that I think it should be done, because at the same time I also think that it's taking the styles, whether they're being infringed upon or not, and making them available to so many more people so that it can inspire so many more people. Because at some point in time, right, like Salvador Dali was inspired by someone, Picasso was inspired by someone, Van Gogh was inspired by someone or something, right? So in one way or another, we all are just regurgitating art in our own special way, being inspired by the same thing that inspired others. That's the way I see it. Okay. Doc also says art style cannot be trademarked under intellectual property rights because it does not meet requirement constituting a product or service, nor can be patented because it falls under the category of mental processes. It says pronounced Oaxaca. Hopefully I said that right. So Oaxaca, I believe, is how I mispronounced Osaka. And Gretchen says every black and white landscape photographer has been inspired by Ansel Adams. Absolutely, right? And that's the whole thing. Yeah, it's all about inspiration. And we've heard all of these terms as far as good artists copy, great artists steal, right? I don't necessarily see it that way, but I do see it as a muse, right? There are certain things or certain people who end up being inspiration for others, even though they can't inspire themselves, or that they can't take what they're doing as inspiration for themselves, right? So that's the way that I see it as far as everything goes. Like the content that I create, the stuff that I make, in one way I can take pride in what I do, but I almost cannot be inspired by it because it's something that I've done. Yet I am inspired by things that other people do, and I know that those same other people might be inspired by the things that I do, right? So it's like the things that I create are not ever really for me. They're for all of you, for the Camera Junkie crew, for everyone who can receive from it. And at the same time, when I see the Camera Junkie crew be inspired themselves and create something on their own and do something over here or start a live stream over there, the fruits that bears, that's what I get filled on, that's what I get nourished on. And that's just the way that I see it. Like I make this for you, and at the same time I know that I will have more than enough. And that's what I try to do as far as how to stay inspired myself. So like you playing City of Mine now. You know what? I wasn't even paying attention, but yeah, that's been on my soundtrack since I took over your live stream. I put it with no words. Oh, don't worry, because I was gonna butcher it anyway. Doc is gonna file a copyright strike. I love it. Images by Gretchen was able to visit the Ansel Adams studio in Yosemite last year. Was amazing to see how much of his work at the same place that he was photographing. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, because Ansel, if you read up on his life, you would see that he did not spend a lot of time with his family, because he spent a lot of it doing photography, and he would be up on mountains for days, weeks, not sure months, but I wouldn't doubt it. And I know that he would be up in these locations waiting for the perfect time to get the perfect light, to get the perfect pretty much everything because that's what was required for photography in those days. Now, you can get a Ansel Adams type of photo with a lot less effort because, not even being able to manipulate it in post, but just being able to actually create so much more because of all of the, electronics in the device, like a slow shutter. You can have a bulb exposure for 2.5 minutes and just basically nullify any like ripples in water, and you could just have like smooth effects. So there's a lot of options that we have available to us, and that's the whole thing. Like, I bet you, and this is just going off the top of my head, I bet you Ansel Adams caught himself more than once with the wrong type of film, or ran out of the film that he wanted, or had an error and missed shots just because of equipment failure. And because these devices are so dope nowadays, like, we really don't have that. Like, if you bought, 800 ISO film, but now you needed 16 or 32 to get the proper exposure, that's something that you have with you at all times on digital cameras that would not necessarily be something that you would have available to you when you were doing, like, film photography. And that leads me back particularly to like all the times where I had film in my camera and I knew that I couldn't take a shot because it was, ISO 200, and I was saving shots when I was doing during the day, but now I wanted to take a photo at night and I knew that it just wasn't even going to expose correctly. So I just wouldn't take the photo because I wasn't going to ruin like 15 extra exposures that I had on this film so that I can switch it for one photo at night. So at that time, God knows, you probably have to carry multiple bodies, right? Camera bodies with the film already inside so that you can get different exposures. But I digress, because that's just the luxuries that we have, our first world problems that are not problems, but yet how efficient we can be with these new digital cameras. And I say new, anything past 2008, 2010 is more than good enough to create pretty much anything that you want to get done. I'll stick by that. It says, inspiration without respiration and perspiration is simply I thought you had something serious to say, Doc. You got me. It says, timing on Topaz video. Come on. Let's bring that forward. There we go. Timing on Topaz video AI so far. Original 24-second video. 4.5 minute process to preview, only 29 minutes to do the full process. Oh wow. So yeah, that goes to show you that's what I was seeing, that it was taking a long time, but you can't beat the results. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, a lot, and this is another thing. This has to do with artificial intelligence, right? Topaz AI. It might be 30 minutes, but it's not 30 minutes that are taxing on you that you have to sit in front of the computer and wait. It is like, set the computer, 30 minutes. Let me go, in your case, play with the grandkids, make a coffee, take pictures of bears, do 1,000,001 things that you can do at that time. And then when you get back, it's like, bling, all done. So it's not something that's requiring you, but actually giving you back a half an hour of your time, if not more, in a simple little, like, button click. I look at the profiles of like 6 of the people who said AI was scary and bad for artists on Roberto's post, and their artwork was beautiful but lazy, heavily inspired post. One straight jacked Pokemon. Right? Like, I used to draw when I was in school, and when I was drawing, I would try to come up with like, and I mean, middle school, I wanted to maybe create characters that would be in a video game, something like Mortal Kombat or something like that, and it's not as easy, to actually create a character with backstory and make it like viably cool. So I can see how, even though at that time when I was doing it, I would consider myself to be completely spontaneous, right? And I would create a character, and then I look back at them when I was older and I was like, oh my God, I was like biting off of so many different characters that already existed. And I guess that I just didn't even realize it because they were kind of like prefixed templates in my head that I actually thought I was being, like original. Yet I had a lot of inspiration from, works prior to myself. Says Kevin Cox, that is amazing. I've seen this works in several galleries, but haven't made it to the Yosemite studio yet. Says that was serious. You can be inspired, but you still gotta work. That is true. And that's why I said, like, you can read as many fitness books as possible, but you still gotta put in the work if you want to, get the build. Oh, look at that. That's even awesome. Like, Topaz processing in the background up to 6 videos at once. And Kevin is saying that he misspoke and there actually is a gallery in Yosemite. Oh, super cool. All right, guys, guess what? We did it. Just another Camera Junkie live stream in the books, episode 104. And as always, I have to thank all of you guys for hanging out and making it the best place to be on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't believe that today marks 2 years of the Camera Junkie live stream. 2 years ago when I started 30 days of live streaming because it was something that I wanted to get better at. I never thought that I would be here today. So many things that I am absolutely grateful for that have happened since that time till now, and the potential for the future and what I see coming just over the horizon. I'm just giddy for it and I can't wait. So I want to thank you for joining me week in and week out. 2 years are in the books. Next week is Aiden's birthday. So yes, happy birthday to Aiden. He will be 7 years and we're going to take it from there. And if you're not doing anything, I would invite you once again to come hang out on the live stream. If it will be your first time, make sure you introduce yourself to the Camera Junkie crew. And with that being said, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you all next week. Later.